My boyfriend, Zachary Lane, and I started a business together. This year, our performance exceeded all expectations. I had even begun planning to use my year-end bonus to buy a new car and make a down payment on a house. Then one evening, as we were discussing finances, Zachary held my hand gently and said, "Stella, the final payments from a few clients are still pending. It would be better if you did not withdraw your share just yet." I pulled my hand away, forcing a calm smile. Though inside I was already laughing coldly. If I had not accidentally seen a bank transfer showing he had sent $500,000 to another woman, I might have believed him. Well, since he wants to play this game, I will simply withdraw my investment. Zachary, thinking I had agreed, pulled me into a hug and murmured affectionately, "I knew you would understand. You are always so thoughtful." The image of that bank transfer still burned in my mind. I had stumbled across it one day when I accidentally logged into the business account and saw he had sent the money to Aria Chapman. I had tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe she was in trouble, and now he was crying poor and telling me I could not take my own money. What a joke. Aria was his childhood friend, the girl he always referred to as just like a sister. But honestly, who transfers that kind of money to a sister? I kept my expression neutral and said with just the right touch of annoyance, "But I already spoke with the agent. If I do not lock in that apartment now, the price will go up after the holidays. That is another $50,000. I just do not want all my hard work to end up as profit for a developer," I added, pretending to be more worried about real estate than the obvious betrayal. Zachary hesitated. That apartment had been one we looked at together, a place we were planning to turn into our first home. It was in a prime location, with excellent schools nearby. He knew perfectly well that the only reason I wanted to withdraw money now was to make the down payment. "Give me a little time," he said finally. "Let me figure something out." I patted his arm and smiled, playing along. "Or you could just tell me which clients still have outstanding balances. We can split up and follow up with them. That would be faster." We had always worked on different projects, but many of our clients overlapped. In fact, most of the accounts he managed were ones I had introduced to the business. Hearing this, Zachary grew visibly uncomfortable. "Still," he said smoothly, "no need, I will take care of it. You just relax, I will handle everything." I had no time to keep pretending. I needed to know exactly where that $500,000 had gone. So I arranged to meet our company's head of finance for lunch. From the beginning, I had insisted that we outsource HR and finance. I did not want favoritism or any confusion over responsibilities. Zachary had agreed. Our current finance manager, Chi-Yu, happened to be a senior from my university days. Zachary had no idea that we were actually quite close. I had also placed people I trusted within the company. Just in case, when it came to money, I knew better than to be naive. As soon as we sat down, Chi-Yu got straight to the point. "Stella, I am going to be honest with you. Zachary has been supporting a woman outside the company. He has been ordering us to pay her $20,000 each month." I stared at her in disbelief. "Why are you only telling me now? I only just discovered it." She explained, "There is someone on our payroll named Aria. A few weeks ago, our Xiao Li got sick and asked me to help process the attendance reports. That is when I noticed something strange. She had no timecard entries but was listed with perfect attendance every month. So I pulled her file and realized that although she is officially part of a subsidiary, no one seems to know who she is." I asked around quietly. Everyone drew a blank. It was only after I pressured Xiao Li several times that she admitted it. Zachary instructed her to do it. Chi-Yu had been holding this back, afraid that it would cause a fight between Zachary and me. But now that I had come to her first, she could not keep it in any longer. According to her records, Zachary had been transferring money to Aria since the year before last. With the monthly payments and her so-called bonuses, Aria had become one of the top earners in the company, pulling in nearly $1 million a year without doing any real work. I clenched my fists tightly. He could cheat on me if he wanted, but he had no right to touch my money. That money, I would make sure he paid it all back. With interest, I took a deep breath to calm myself and turned to Chi-Yu. "Senior, I have made up my mind. I am going to start something on my own. Are you in or not?" Chi-Yu looked stunned for a moment, then quickly caught on. She hesitated. "Stella, you know how hard it is to find a job right now, She trailed off. But I understood everything without her saying more. All right, I said, my voice steady. I get it, but please, keep this to yourself. Chi-Yu nodded quickly. You have my word. With that promise, I began preparing for my next move. That night, I reached out to several clients and arranged dinners. It was the end of the year, and company banquets were in full swing. Plenty of food, plenty of wine. I had done my share of hard drinking in the past to close deals. The worst time. I ended up with a stomach ulcer. I had vomited blood right in front of the client, who was horrified. Even then, I insisted on signing the contract before going to the hospital. After that, the client called me fearless, and I earned my place in the industry. The company started to grow, but the damage to my health never fully healed. Now was not the time for weakness. I also reached out privately to a few of the wives of major clients. I needed a backup plan, extra insurance. After everything was arranged, I headed home. To my surprise, Zachary was actually there. He was wearing an apron, coming out of the kitchen with a smile. You are back, he said cheerfully. Just one more dish to go. I dropped onto the sofa and watched him move around the kitchen. On impulse, I picked up his phone. The moment Zachary saw me holding it, his face tensed. What's this? Are you checking up on me? No, I replied casually, just curious. The same robot vacuum cleaner costs $300 more on your account than mine. Must be that algorithm. I showed him the screen. He visibly relaxed. Really, I did not respond. I just tapped open his browser history. One glance was all I needed. Dinner's ready, Zachary said quickly, walking over and pulling me up by the hand. In one smooth move, he snatched his phone from my fingers and tucked it into his pocket. I smiled but said nothing. That meal tasted like nothing. After dinner, Zachary went into the study. I headed for a bath. As the warm steam rose and surrounded me, memories flooded back. When we first started out, we lived in a 30 square meter rental unit. In the summer, we had to use a shared bathroom in the hallway, men and women all together. It was far from comfortable. More than once, I caught someone peeking. It left me shaking with fear. After that, I never bathed without a knife tucked beside me. Zachary used to hold me in his arms and say, Stella, one day, when I make enough money, I will buy you a big house with your own bathroom. You will never be scared again. Now, we had that bigger apartment. I had my bathtub, but Zachary was no longer the same man. I lay still in the water, letting tears run freely down my cheeks. Suddenly, my phone lit up beside the tub. It was a message from Chi-Yu. Stella. Zachary just asked me to transfer another $200,000 to that woman. I sat up, fully awake in an instant. That was it. I called her without hesitation. Withdraw my dividend right now. Send it to me. I will handle everything else. The house, I would buy on my own. Zachary. I was done with him. 10 minutes later, the money arrived in my bank account. I got dressed, packed up, and walked out. Just then, I heard soft laughter coming from the study. His voice floated out, gentle and low. Sweetheart, once I finish this, we will go see that movie. You pick. I will go wherever you want. He sounded so tender, like he was talking to a child. I let out a cold laugh and walked straight into the bedroom, where I contacted a real estate agent and paid a deposit on a new place. Just then, Zachary came over and said casually, Stella, there's an issue with the project on the west side of the city. I need to head over there for a bit. I looked at him, watching his face carefully. I will come with you, I said. This was the last chance I was willing to give him. But Zachary shook his head. No need, I can handle it. You should get some rest. He left in a hurry, not even glancing back. He did not notice that I had already slipped on my coat and followed behind. Zachary looked relaxed, even cheerful, as he drove through the city, completely unaware that I was right behind him. When he arrived at a busy shopping district, he got out of the car and was immediately wrapped in the arms of a young woman. They kissed right there on the sidewalk like they had nothing to hide. My hands were trembling as I raised my phone and took a few photos. I watched them walk into a movie theater and choose a romantic film. In that moment, it felt like 1,000 tiny needles were stabbing my heart. Zachary, how could you be such a disgrace? But I had no time to cry. I contacted a lawyer immediately and began preparing to divide our assets. When we first started the company, I borrowed 300,000 from my family as seed funding. Zachary put in 100,000. Now, the company was worth 30 million. And the next project was set to double that. I reached out to a well-connected investor and sold my shares. When the funds arrived, the man on the other end asked me, "Wait a minute, you and Zachary were a team, already splitting up." I smiled lightly and said, "Mr. Jiang, we were never married. At best, you could call us college friends. But he has found someone new now, and I think it is best I step away before his future wife starts to feel uneasy." Mr. Jiang chuckled knowingly. Of course. He understood. News of Zachary's affair had spread quickly. Everyone knew I was his longtime partner. I had originally planned to push Zachary out of the company, but when I found out that he had not only wired money to Aria but was also trying to cut me out of my dividends, I changed course. It was better to step away entirely, cleanly, quietly, and move far away from a man like him. For the next few days, I focused solely on closing the deal and quietly let a few clients know I was stepping down. Zachary had no idea. He thought I was just taking a break. After all, I had not been in the office for days. When the transfer agreement was finally signed, I felt the weight lift from my shoulders. That was when Zachary called me. "Stella, you took out 500,000. Why didn't you tell me first?" His voice was sharp and tense. I could hear the anger boiling through the phone. "I needed it urgently." I replied calmly, "We can talk when I get back." When I returned to the office, he was sitting with Chi-Yu. I gave her a look, and she quickly excused herself. Before I could say anything, Zachary frowned and snapped, "It is the end of the year. We have major expenses coming up. You cannot just take money without permission. Return it now." "I am a shareholder," I said. "This is my dividend, and since I help run the company, if you can spend money, why can't I?" Zachary stared at me in shock. "What are you talking about, Zachary?" I said, pulling out the bank statement. "Aria received 700,000 from you. Care to explain that?" He turned pale. Clearly, he had not expected me to find out. Watching the panic rise in his eyes, I felt nothing but emptiness. "You told me to forego my dividend temporarily because of pending payments. And what were you doing?" Zachary's face hardened. "I am the boss. It was just 700,000. I will spend it however I want. Who do you think you are to question me?" As soon as the words left his mouth, his expression changed. Regret flickered across his face. "I am sorry. I didn't mean that." "No, you are right," I said, cutting him off. "I have no right. That is why I am ending this. Zachary, I want to break up." His face twisted in panic. "No, Stella, don't do this. You are being crazy. She just needed help," he stammered. "Aria's family was going through a hard time. I was only trying to lend a hand. She promised to pay it back." I stood there and watched him scramble to defend her. That was when I knew I was done. "I know," I said softly. "I understand." Relief swept across his face, but it was short-lived. "Zachary," I said, looking him straight in the eyes, "we are over. Stella, are you done making a scene?" "I am not making a scene," I replied, my voice calm and firm. "I am serious." Zachary was suddenly afraid. He could not even look me in the eye. His voice trembled as he said, "Stella, think this through. Do not say things you will regret. Just take a few days to calm down." Then, clearly flustered, he turned and hurried away. I watched his retreating figure, the corner of my lips curling into a bitter smile. "Zachary, we are over." I handed in my resignation the next morning, packed up my belongings, and left without hesitation. When I picked up the keys from the real estate agent, she handed me a small gift with a warm smile. "Miss, I hope this place becomes a true home for you in this city." "Thank you," I replied sincerely. She had gifted me a set of bath oils, and by chance, they were in my favorite scent. That night, after moving into my new apartment, I ran a warm bath. The fragrance of the oils wrapped around me like a gentle hug, slowly melting away the weight of the past few weeks. As I lay back and let myself breathe, my phone buzzed with a friend request. I checked it. It was from Aria. Well, I had not gone looking for her, but she had delivered herself right to my doorstep. I saw no reason to be polite. After I accepted the request, she wasted no time. A few photos popped up in the chat. Pictures of her and Zachary together, smiling and cozy, complete with timestamps and watermarks. So much for Zachary claiming to be too busy at work. He had actually been out watching movies and shopping with her. Then Aria added a message, "Stella, we are just good friends. Please do not misunderstand. If you and Zachary broke up because of me, I apologize. Just friends, doing everything only couples should be doing." And she thought a fake apology would fix it. I shook my head and said nothing. People like her were not even worth my breath. I had no intention of stooping to compete with her. She was simply not on my level. I blocked her without a second thought. That must have hit a nerve, because she kept trying to add me back, again and again. Her messages grew more desperate. "Stella, 70,000 is nothing to you. Do you really have to be so petty?" I replied with one line before blocking her again. "That is Zachary's money. What does it have to do with you?" Then I took screenshots of the whole exchange and sent them to Zachary. "Control your woman. If this happens again, I will not be so polite." He did not reply, but at least Aria stopped harassing me after that. A couple of days later, my colleague Chiyu sent me some photos. Aria had shown up at the company. "Can you believe it?" Chiyu wrote. "Zachary actually brought Aria into the company. Stella, now I finally understand why you left. There is no arguing with fools. She has been here just 2 days and already drove away 2 clients. The project team is on the verge of falling apart." That was when I realized Aria had taken my old position as project manager. Zachary must have thought I left in a huff, and that when I returned and saw someone had replaced me, I would come crawling back. He really had no idea what he was dealing with. I immediately transferred 30,000 to Chiyu. "Stay there for now. Once I finish building the new team here, you can switch over anytime." Chiyu agreed right away. She would act as my eyes on the inside, to see just what they were planning. Zachary kept saying Aria was just a friend and that he was helping her through a rough patch. Yet he had brought her into the company and given her my position. But how long can a relationship built on money and lies actually last? Aria was never cut out for the job. It took less than a week before Zachary realized something was wrong. I still had not returned, but my business partner, Mr. Jiang, had already sent in his people. Chiyu called me on video so I could watch the scene unfold. Zachary looked completely stunned. When Mr. Jiang presented the signed transfer of ownership documents, he finally understood. I was not angry. I had truly let go. I had moved on. His face turned dark as a storm. Chiyu whispered through the call, "He might come find you. Be ready. Aria's been whispering in his ear, turning you into the enemy." I laughed. "Let him come." Sure enough, just as I finished speaking, Zachary showed up at my new place. Somehow, he had found the address. He stood at my door, ringing the bell like a man possessed. When I opened the door, he wasted no time. "Stella," he snapped, "do you really have to go this far? Do all the years we spent together mean nothing to you?" I tapped my ear and gave a little laugh. "Zachary, are you serious right now? What kind of twisted joke is this? You bought that woman a house, shared ice cream with her, and now you want to talk to me about old feelings?" I looked him square in the eye. "From the moment you secretly transferred money to her and cut my year-end bonus, we were done. Completely." He lowered his head, clearly guilty. "I did not think it through," he muttered. "But did you really have to be so heartless? Since Jiang Cheng came on board, I have lost almost all my influence at the company." I folded my arms and stared at him coldly. "So that is why you are here, just to complain that you have lost your voice at the office? And now you want me to go back and help you reclaim your so-called throne?" I took a step closer. "Zachary, do you have no shame? I do not owe you anything. If you need someone to fight your battles, ask Aria. Her mouth works faster than her brain anyway. And one more thing. Get out. If you do not leave right now, I will call the police." I pushed him out the door and slammed it shut. Zachary looked like he wanted to kick it down, but after glancing up at the security camera above the doorway, he thought better of it and left. After that, he stopped showing up in person, but he did send me a message. "Stella, you will regret this." But regret, that was not in my vocabulary. I started from scratch and began building something new. By the end of the year, my moves had shocked the entire client base. Even Mr. Jiang gave me a call. "Stella, are you really starting your own firm? Come work with me instead. I will give you a position higher than Zachary's." I smiled and replied politely, "Mr. Jiang, Working alongside him again would only lead to endless conflicts. I would hate to put you in that position. I will pass. Fair enough. Let me take you out for a meal sometime, he said with a chuckle. I hung up the phone and looked through my messages. Most people were still hesitant, watching from the sidelines. Just a woman, they thought. What could she possibly achieve without Zachary? They forgot that back when Zachary and I were starting our company, he was the one making flashy speeches at the dinner table while I was the one drinking myself into stomach ulcers to land one deal after another. Now they looked down on me. Fine, I would show them. A woman can thrive in this industry. A woman can build an empire. Zachary thought the same. In his mind, I was just being petty, jealous even, buying shares, starting a new company. He believed it was all just to prove I was better than Arya. When I heard people repeating that nonsense, I could not help but laugh. My purpose was never to compete with another woman. That is not what I am here for. Just as my company was about to launch, Zachary came by again. He walked in and handed me a bank card. Stella, do not be mad anymore. Come back. I know you were upset about Arya, the bonus issue. That was my decision. But here, I am giving you the money. Will you come back now? I stepped aside and turned to the front desk. How did he get in? Did he have an appointment? The receptionist rushed over. I am sorry, Ms. King. I thought he was a potential client. He is not. He is our competition. Zachary's face turned pale. The young woman immediately responded, in that case, please leave at once. If you do not, we will press charges for attempting to steal company information. His face darkened, but I did not care. I waved her on and let her escort him out. Then I went back to my meeting with the designers to finalize the office layout. By the time I finished, night had fallen. To my surprise, Zachary was still outside, waiting for me. As soon as he saw me, he rushed over and blocked my path. Stella, how long are you going to keep this up? I already told you, Arya and I cut him off. Whatever happened between you and Arya has nothing to do with me, Zachary. I am here to inform you, we have officially broken up. This is not a discussion, it is a notice, according to the messages you had sent me earlier. Ever since Mr. Jiang took over, he had wasted no time launching a sweeping reform across the company. Zachary had been cornered step by step, unable to resist the pressure. Even Arya was not spared. One of Mr. Jiang's executives openly berated her, saying she had no real abilities and only knew how to flaunt her status by clinging to a man. Her projects were full of errors, her proposals a complete disaster. Arya had never been spoken to like that before. She broke down on the spot, covering her face and sobbing uncontrollably. When Zachary tried to defend her, Mr. Jiang shot back with a cold sneer, accusing him of trying to pass off mediocrity as talent. Embarrassed and powerless, Zachary could do nothing but fall silent. And now, here he was, standing in front of me, offering money. I gave a soft laugh. Let me guess, you want me to come back and help you fix things, right? I looked him squarely in the eye. Zachary, have you lost your memory? He softened his voice. I know you are upset about what happened with Arya. I have already let her go. Come back, Stella. Mr. Jiang said it himself. You have real talent. There is no need to go solo, it is too risky. So let me get this straight, I said coolly, you want me to swallow my pride, come back, and fight your battles for you, while staying under your thumb. Zachary, we are both adults, save the performance, your acting is terrible. I pushed him aside and walked away without hesitation. From behind, he shouted after me, you will regret this, Stella, you are just a woman, what can you possibly do? I almost laughed. Did he really think I had no cards to play? On the day of my company's grand opening, not a single client who had promised to come showed up. My assistant was in a panic. President King, how could they do this? They all confirmed, and now they are just ignoring us. I knew exactly what had happened. It was Jiang Cheng's doing. Now that we were direct competitors, and with Zachary whispering in his ear, it was obvious where his loyalties lay. I smiled and gently patted her shoulder. Do not worry, in business, people follow profits. That is how this world works, but I was never counting on them to begin with. She looked at me, confused, before she could ask more. The door opened, a confident, sharp-looking woman stepped into the room. Seeing the nearly empty private dining space, she frowned. Stella, I must have overestimated you. Judging by this turnout, it seems you are not exactly popular. I motioned for her to take a seat and replied calmly, Ms. Lin. They do not matter. You are the one I came to meet. Oh, she said with a hint of surprise, so I was your target all along. Yes, I said plainly. I know you have been interested in expanding into the South City market, but you have been waiting for the right opportunity. I happen to have one, and I have been saving it for you. I handed her a proposal, with second-tier cities driving the growth of smaller surrounding markets, and transportation integration accelerating. This model is timely and viable. I have already selected the location and begun preliminary development. All that is missing is your partnership. Basic retail models do not retain customers, she said skeptically. I nodded, which is why I have focused on transit-linked development. The area's transit lines connect directly to the city center. Here are the supporting policy documents. I had done my homework, every aspect, every potential problem, and every solution had been mapped out well before this meeting. Seeing the level of preparation and sincerity in my pitch, Lin Tang finally smiled. No wonder when you left to start your own venture, Mr. Jiang said you would be his biggest competitor if you succeeded. He was not wrong. She gave me a sharp look. But tell me, am I just another chess piece in your game? No, I answered sincerely. You are a partner in my strategy. I leaned forward slightly. If I had not broken up with Zachary, you would have been the next person I reached out to. But now that I am on my own, he does not get to benefit from any of this. I want to show them, show everyone, that two women can take on this market and win. I brought her onto my side. Based on everything I had learned about Lin Tang, I knew she would not say no to that challenge, and I was right. Her expression softened. I poured a glass of red wine and raised it toward her. Ms. Lin, everything is ready. All we need now is the final push. Let us make this launch a success. Together, Lin Tang let out a soft laugh, raised her glass, and clinked it gently against mine. Stella, I really underestimated you, she said warmly. Here's to a successful partnership between us. On the way back, my young assistant was still in disbelief. President King, am I dreaming? Did that just happen? It went so smoothly. You and Miss Lin just settled everything. I shrugged casually. Why? Did you think it would be harder? She blinked. Well, all those business dramas on TV make it look like war. I patted her on the shoulder. That is television. In real life, we do not need to fight to the death. Business is about mutual benefit. Everyone is just trying to get what they want. I added with a knowing smile. Lin Tang might not care enough to stand up for me or go against Jiang Cheng, but I am betting on her ambition. Lin Tang was the heiress of the Lin Corporation. After she got married, her husband kept her locked away at home, burying the once brilliant star of the business world behind baby bottles and domestic life. For 3 years. She stayed hidden. Her in-laws were never satisfied, and their constant criticism finally pushed her to make a choice. She stepped out, and without relying on her husband, made her own fortune. Eventually, she got a divorce and re-entered the market. Ready to compete on her own terms, I never assumed she would admire me, but I was willing to bet that she had ambition. I bet she wanted a bigger piece of the pie, and if I could tap into that hunger, we could take this market together. My assistant stared at me, then raised her thumb in admiration. You really are brilliant. I would never have thought of that. This market is still not kind to women. People assume if we climb our way up, it must be by seduction or relying on men. They never stop to think. Maybe we are just more capable than they want to admit. They criticize women for using our advantages, but the truth is, they are just bitter they do not have any of their own. So yes, I am good looking. If a client wants to stare, let him. It is not going to cost me a thing. My assistant looked at me with full-on awe, and I did not hide anything from her. To kick off the new year, Lin Tang and I publicly announced our joint venture. We pooled our funds and took over a key plot of land on the south side of the city to launch our new project. When Zachary saw me like this, thriving and powerful, he panicked. He clearly had not expected me to actually pull it off, let alone partner with Lin Tang. He showed up in a hurry while I was in the middle of our celebration dinner. The moment I saw him, I barely recognized the man. It had not been that long, but something about him had changed. It was not his clothes. They were the same. But he had this hollow look, like all the life had been drained from him. Stella, are you really working with her? You finalized the deal, he asked, his voice full of tension. This project carries huge risks. You should not get involved recklessly, I replied calmly. Thank you for the warning, but everything is already in motion. The contract is signed. There is no turning back. I have to make it work. Zachary's face twisted with anger. You are out of your mind. Stella, you have over 10 million at your disposal. Why throw it into this? Why partner with Lin Tang of all people? I looked him up and down, then laughed softly. What exactly are you afraid of? That I will rise too fast, that I might succeed and make you look useless. When I was with you, it was not because I needed you. You were just in the way. I have always been the one who shines. He opened his mouth but had nothing to say. I smiled and looked him straight in the eye. So if I were you, I would start speaking to me with a little respect. Who knows? Maybe I will glance your way again and toss you a lifeline. Oh, and by the way, I waved my phone at him. Your little goddess messaged me again, said you two slept together. She is even planning to visit your parents during the holidays. So let's keep things simple. There is no need for us to be in contact anymore. I would hate for her to lose it and come screaming at me again. The moment I said those words, Zachary panicked. He grabbed my wrist tightly and stammered, No. It is not what you think. I was drunk. I lost control for a moment. I swear, I am not going to marry her. I shook his hand off with force. Zachary, if you had admitted everything like a man, I might have had a shred of respect for you. But look at you now, cowering, making excuses. It is hard to believe you are the same person I once trusted. I see now I misjudged you completely. I held up my phone, showing the recording I had made. If you ever try to harass me again, I will send every word of this to her. His face turned pale. Stella, you are really something. I met his glare without flinching. Yes, I am. I never forgive betrayal, and I do not give second chances. Now get out. He tried to follow me, but I kicked him hard in the shin. He stumbled back, clutching his leg, crouched on the ground, his eyes burning with frustration as he watched me walk away. Without hesitation, I added Aria back on social media and sent her the full recording. Her response came fast and furious. Stella, have you no shame? Why are you still clinging to him? Truly a pair of deluded fools, I replied sharply, clinging to him. Please, he is nothing but a failure. Tell your man to stay in his lane. If there is a next time, I will make everything public. She flew into a rage. But I had already blocked her again. Around that time, Chiyu resigned from Zachary's company and joined mine. Before she left, she witnessed quite the spectacle and came back to report it with barely concealed amusement. Aria stormed into the office and told Zachary she was pregnant. She demanded he take responsibility. Zachary's face turned completely green. After that, there is no way he could ever hope to get back together with you. I could not help but laugh. Reconcile with me. He is not even worth the thought. Zachary never truly understood who I was. I am Stella, and when I say something, I mean it. I never go back on my word. If I set my mind to something, I make sure it gets done. Just like back in the early days, when I followed him into every client meeting, no matter how tough the deal, I helped him close it. And now, the same determination drives me to clean up this mess. Aria's scandal exploded. Their drama spilled into the workplace, and the final straw came when they had a loud argument, followed by a physical fight, right in front of a client. Mr. Jiang had had enough. In a moment of fury, he kicked Zachary out of the board of directors. He informed him that from now on, he would no longer be involved in management. All he could do was wait quietly to collect whatever dividends remained. Finally, karma had arrived. I could not help but let out a cold chuckle. Meanwhile, Aria had taken her chaos to Zachary's family home. After all, this was supposedly the Lane family's first grandchild. Under pressure from his parents, Zachary was forced to marry her. Before the wedding, he had the nerve to send me a message. Stella, I regret everything. Can you wait for me? Once I settle things with her, I will come back to you. Please. I had never been so disgusted. This man was truly shameless. I took a screenshot of the message and forwarded it to Aria. I have no idea how she reacted. But I do know that after that day, Zachary never contacted me again. During the Lunar New Year, I handed out generous bonuses to all my employees who had worked overtime. Chi-Yu came to me with an update, laughing as she spoke. Those who stayed at Zachary's company are completely falling apart. Mr. Jiang wasted no time. He began laying people off as soon as he took over. Some had sided with Zachary, thinking they had picked the winning team, but turns out, he was just dead weight, always chasing unrealistic goals and getting caught up in personal affairs. And you know how Mr. Jiang operates. If he cannot make use of someone, he will not keep them. Only a few key positions were spared, the rest were cut without a second thought. Zachary stood there stunned. He had probably wanted to protest, to speak up and stop what was unfolding, but he no longer had any say in the matter. All he could do was swallow his frustration in silence. Chi-Yu later told me that many of the old employees were eager to jump ship and join me. I paused to think about it, then carefully selected a few reliable ones. As for the rest, I declined without hesitation. Back when I was still in the company, those same people had plenty to say behind my back. They whispered that I had only climbed the ladder because of my relationship with Zachary, that I was good at charming men and sealing deals through flirtation. I had no intention of working again with that crowd. The ones who had sour grapes when they could not have what they wanted. Instead, I kept a few hard-working and trustworthy women on board, and even helped them catch up on their social benefits. Once word of that got out, the others were full of regret. The day our project, mine and Lin Tang's, was officially launched, we held a ribbon-cutting ceremony together. Zachary actually showed up that day, dressed to the nines, arriving early as if he belonged there. When he saw me, his eyes lit up with a trace of joy, but not long after, Arya came hurrying to his side. Linking her arm through his as though to declare her territory. That was when I noticed she was clearly pregnant. She stood next to Zachary with her chin held high, wearing that smug expression that practically screamed, "Stella, you lost." I responded with a calm smile, "Mr. Lane, what brings you here today? I do not recall sending you an invitation." Everyone present, former business contacts and colleagues, turned their attention to me and Lin Tang. Even President Jiang was here, and his presence alone drew half the room to our side. I gave Zachary no special treatment. He scratched his nose awkwardly and said, "Stella, I know I did not invite you to our wedding, everything was rushed, but today, your project is complete. I came to congratulate you. I just never thought that after leaving me, you would be doing so well." I let out a short laugh. "Zachary, I am not doing well because I left you. I have always been capable. When I was with you, I only kept a low profile so you would not feel insecure. The truth is, you were holding me back. Since I left you, I have success, confidence, and even a charming younger man by my side." I waved my hand. My assistant walked over. "Miss Stella, you called." I reached out and gave his ear a playful pinch, then turned to Zachary. "He is taller, better looking, and has way more stamina than you ever did. Thank you for giving me the chance to upgrade." The moment Zachary laid eyes on him, his face turned green. Arya, not to be outdone, sneered and said, "Stella, no wonder you are still playing around. You are almost 30 and still not married. No children either. Let us see if you can even have them when the time comes." I scoffed. "If I want kids, there are plenty of men willing. I can choose the best genes. But you chose the weakest link in the chain." Arya's face went pale instantly. I turned my gaze to Zachary. "Now that President Jiang has pushed you out, you are left wandering in the cold, showing up here hoping for a lucky break. Are you waiting to speak with Jiang? I hate to disappoint you, but I doubt he has any interest in seeing you." I tilted my head toward the corner of the room, where Jiang was deep in conversation with Lin Tang, clearly enjoying her company. If beauty could be a strategy, why not use it? Especially when Lin Tang was more than capable of holding her own, taking advantage of the good atmosphere. I raised my voice and made an announcement. "Once this year's project is fully delivered, all employees will receive double the usual year-end bonus." Zachary staggered back 2 steps when he heard that, nearly pulling Arya off her feet. "This is all revenge for that 50,000, isn't it?" he shouted. I shook my head. "It was never about the money, it was about dignity. Zachary, I worked tirelessly, year after year. I pushed myself to the point of stomach ulcers and still refused to give up, all because I wanted to build a life for us. And what did you do? I am not here to rehash everything, but let me just say, what you failed is not just me, not just our past, filled with memories and promises. You failed yourself. The man you once claimed to be, you let him down too. When Zachary heard what I said, he immediately lowered his head. It is my fault, he admitted quietly. I underestimated you. I replied with a calm but steady voice. No, Zachary, what you did was overestimate my tolerance for betrayal. Anyone who betrays love, who betrays me, does not deserve a happy ending. I wish you exactly what you seek. May you get what you deserve. Arya's face turned pale, then flushed red, then pale again. I let out a soft scoff and signaled for someone to escort them out. Today was my moment. I was not about to let these bitter people bring bad energy into my celebration. After that day, I never saw Zachary again. From time to time, I heard bits and pieces from Chi-Yu. She told me that Jiang Cheng had pushed forward a bold reform plan, and Zachary was completely pushed out of the company. In the end, he sold off his remaining shares. Arya, of course, enjoyed the ride while it lasted. Fine dining, luxury vacations. But rebuilding what they had lost was never going to be easy. She was not me. She could not negotiate a deal, could not handle business dinners, and on top of that, she had a habit of throwing tantrums. Every day, she bought piles of luxury goods and bragged about it. I am Mrs. Lane now, she would say, there is nothing I cannot afford. But when Zachary's new venture failed, debts piled up fast. He started selling Arya's luxury items just to pay back what he owed. She finally had enough. One day, she simply packed her bags, left their child with the Lane family, and disappeared without a trace. Zachary struggled to find work. When his resume landed on my desk, my company was already thriving, business had tripled, and I had become one of the most respected figures in the industry. And him, he wanted to see me, hoping I would give him a job out of some lingering sentiment for the past, but I could only say no. Because I knew exactly what he was capable of, and more importantly, what he was not. The truth was simple, the industry had moved on from him, and so had I. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.